Today's show was brought to you by ThriveFantasy.com. It's DFS for prop bets. Visit ThriveFantasy.com or download the app for iOS or Android. Use our promo code Armchair and receive an instant match up to $50. Choose 10 of your favorite prop bets to build your lineup and compete against the rest of the field for cash prizes. Again, sign up at ThriveFantasy.com or get the app for iOS or Android and use promo code Armchair to receive your instant match. Guys, it is the last show of the season for the DFS show. We are not going to do the Christmas weekend, and then we're not going to be doing Week 17 either because it's too much of a clusterfuck to do Week 17. So this will be the last show this season. We're in talks with doing some kind of NBA strategy podcast sometime in January, but this will be the last NFL show we got. So it's going to be a good one, guys, so stay tuned.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on goingfor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Hey, goingfor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
Hi guys, what's up, and welcome to episode 189 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow us on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We are live every Wednesday and Friday nights. Actually, we won't be live Wednesdays after tonight. We'll be going to just Fridays. Me and Ryan will be doing every other week starting at the beginning of the year. Of course, we're on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, syndicated in all major podcast networks, and streaming in the Going for Two app for iOS and Android. I'm here with my two co-hosts, Tim and Gerson. What's up, guys?
What up?
Yeah, man. Happy to be back. We got last week of the year, man. Got to make it a good one.
Yep. And Gerson's got his cooler in the back this time.
I got myself a big boy today.
Is it last week of the year, last show of the year?
Well, last show of the year.
Last show of the year.
Great. I got 2 more weeks to prepare for my uncle to come from California and get me drunk.
There you go.
All right, guys, let's get to the weekly rewind.
The weekly rewind.
Rewind is brought to you by the Original Craft Beer Club. Get 12 beers delivered monthly to your house if you sign up at goingfor2.com/getbeer. You get free shipping, up to 3 free gifts. It's a great Christmas present, guys. Again, goingfor2.com, get beer, and claim your free gifts. All right, Tim, how was your week last week?
Not bad. I did okay in cash, but I did lose in the arena to Mr. Jeff Lambert. He did swipe in and end my streak there, so that kind of sucked. But you did help me out, get me over 500 followers on Twitter. So
good shit. Yeah, my lineup was pretty bad too. I mean, it wasn't great. It was enough to beat you, but it wasn't pretty by any means. My cash lineup actually did okay. Saved my week because my GPPs were terrible, but my cash lineup just hung on, just enough to break me just about even. I think I was plus $13, so it wasn't a great week for me. Gerson, how'd you do?
I did okay. I mean, before I was like in the morning, I was going all in on Cousin, then I changed it up, and then overall, I mean, what's his name? Derrick Henry. You know, if you had him, you won a lot of money, but. It was okay weekend. Not too much of a profit, but I didn't kill my bankroll.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think my cash lineup had Aaron Rodgers, Derrick Henry, and David Montgomery, and I think the rest of them were all snowflakes. But those 3 guys were enough to get me into the cash, so I'll take it.
Yeah, that'll get you there.
Yep. All right, guys, let's get to the quarterbacks.
Let's talk quarterbacks.
All right, it's a little bit smaller slate than usual because there's 2 Saturday games. Of course, there was a game last night too, so it's a little bit of a conjuncted slate. But Gerson's got an actual filled out sheet this week, so we're going to go to Gerson first. Give us your elite quarterback.
I think we have to start with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's the best player in the. Sorry, it's an inside joke, but he's the best player in the league. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just kidding. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, last week I was saying just play Patrick Mahomes, and if you had Patrick Mahomes, you made quite a bit of money because in that game, if you stacked that game, you pretty much correlated some of the players there. But I think this game is just the best game of the slate. So him facing the Saints, you're gonna be in a high scoring environment, especially with Drew Brees coming back. It's just gonna stack this game all over. I think if there's the highest ownership, it's just gonna go towards this game. Patrick Mahomes is expensive, of course, but he's worth it at 7,900. Last week, I think he was 8,200, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you paid 8,200 against the Miami Dolphins, you're gonna pay 7,900 versus the New Orleans Saints with Drew Brees coming back, even with Michael Thomas being out. But for sure, I'm gonna have quite a bit of Patrick Mahomes.
And Tim, you got the other elite guy that we all have on our list.
I do. I do want to say that kind of a theme of this show is going to be, as Gerson just mentioned, Chiefs and Saints, because that was already probably going to be the best game of the week. And then with the news that came out today, I think it becomes even a better game. If you're a person that bets, I would definitely bet over on the 52, which is what I show that it currently is, because it should be at least 55. But yeah, I'm going to go with Mr. Cramps himself, Lamar Jackson. Again, he's 7,500, so you get a little bit of a discount over Mahomes, but he's back to the running that we saw in previously that just kept his floor so high. 94 yards rushing against the Cowboys, 124 against the Browns. Obviously, he had that late come in and touchdown to win the game. But at 7,500. I have him projected basically for over 3 times value, and not many people, especially quarterbacks. You want more than that, but anybody that's going to get you kind of 25 points as kind of a base is somebody I definitely want exposure to in tournaments. So I don't know if I'm going to play Lamar in cash, but I definitely think it's worth playing up for both Lamar and Mahomes this week.
Yeah, that's the only 2 guys I got in the pay up column. There is Lamar Jackson and Mahomes. The only thing I want to ask you, Tim, and I asked this to Ryan on the Wednesday show, and he didn't seem to care either, and he's a Ravens fan, but with their backup quarterback being a practice squad guy, because McSorley's out, obviously Robert Griffin III is out, any chance they run Lamar Jackson less in this game, trying to protect him a little bit, being that it's Jacksonville?
Yeah, I don't think that it worries me too much. I mean, they give up so many yards, especially yards on the ground near the goal line, that I think that he's going to have plenty of opportunities to run this in. We're going to talk about this a little bit when we get down to running backs, but I'm actually lower on the Baltimore running backs because I think if they get in close, Lamar's going to get the touchdowns.
Are you saying that for injuries or something?
Yeah, to just kind of protect him a little bit. It's Jacksonville. They're not a very good team. If they want to protect Lamar Jackson, keep him from running as much. Ryan said the same thing. He wasn't worried about it, but I'd heard that narrative, because their backup quarterback, because McSorley's down, Robert Griffin III is down. Their backup quarterback's a practice squad guy that has one snap in his entire career.
Yeah, maybe they get into the fourth quarter, they just hand it off every play, but they're going to run their game plan for quarters at least.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, hopefully the whole game.
I agree. So yeah, y'all took the 2 elite guys, so I'll go ahead and move down into the mid-tier. My favorite mid-tier guy is Jared Goff versus the Jets. I mean, you pretty much, whoever the Jets play is who you're plugging in at quarterback. They give up the second most points to quarterbacks, and the Jets are just terrible. And of course, you got some great stacking options there with Goff as well, with Kupp and Woods. So Jared Goff at 6.3 is probably my top mid-tier guy. Who do you have in your mid-tier, Tim?
Yeah, I have 2 guys, but I think me and Gerson also have the same 3 guys. So I'm going to take my top guy, which is Ryan Tannehill. A couple reasons here. This guy's just been so consistent this year, but last week we saw Aaron Jones was the chalk against Detroit, and it was the Rodgers stacks that won. It's going to be similar this week. Derrick Henry's going to be the chalk, and I think it's entirely possible Tannehill stacks may be what wins. So, whenever there's a hard chalk running back like this, you always want to look at the passing game. As you saw, they were very efficient last week. I expect them to be very efficient again this week. He is expensive. You do have to pay up, I think, $6,700 for Ryan Tannehill, but he's got that 30-point upside that you're looking for in your quarterbacks. And like I said, I think he's probably a little lower owned than he should be, in my opinion, considering they're the highest point total. At least they were last time I checked on the slate.
And Gerson, the last guy you got in the mid-tier was just mentioned in the chat too. Talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah, I like Tom Brady a lot. That's not just in my own personal life. This is in fantasy too. Yeah, I mean, the Falcons are allowing the most 20-yard plus passes in the NFL. Tom Brady has the sixth highest percentage of 20-yard plus target in the league. When you have Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans, it kind of screams like, okay, this might just go off, But it just, to me, is Atlanta has a lot of second highest success rate to tie. That's just another weapon. I mean, Atlanta's just terrible against the pass. But then again, Brady has been kind of a disappointment, I guess you can say, this year. But to me, if I'm going to get Brady a lower ownership compared to when the top quarterbacks like Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, and other quarterbacks we're probably talking the value tier, then maybe, it can be contrarian. But this is just a GPP play. Don't play them in cash game or anything. I mean, they ranked in 20th in DVOA. But we've seen everybody have a career day against Atlanta.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I remember Drew Lock pretty much had his career day against him earlier in the year. I agree. I think you can always pick on Atlanta. Brady's kind of been, one thing I had mentioned here is that Brady's kind of been on and off. He had 34 points, then 14 points, 26 points, then 15 points. If you follow that kind of trend, then he's due for a 25 to 30 point day. So, and if there's anybody that's going to give you that kind of day, it's the Atlanta Falcons. They have a little bit better defensively as of late, but I don't think that they can stop what they're trying to do this week.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move down to the value tier, Tim. Who do you got in your values?
Yeah, I mentioned it. We were talking about Mahomes. The theme of this show is that this game is underpriced, and we're going to start with Mr. Drew Brees, who earlier today was announced that he's going to be the starting quarterback for this weekend. As far as I know, he's gotten the first team reps in practice this week, and he's listed 5,900 on DraftKings. Obviously, they priced him, at least in my opinion, they priced him as if he was not going to be playing. I think going into today, most people were going to be playing Taysom Hill, or the other guy we're going to be talking about here in a second. So I think Brees easily kind of slides in, and in my opinion, he elevates this game significantly to where I think it's going to be a much faster paced game than it would have been with Taysom Hill, which is much better for fantasy scoring.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you're right. I think they were expecting Brees to be out because when's the last time that we had Drew Brees in the value tier? I mean, it doesn't happen very often. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So yeah, Brees being at the value right there, he's definitely going to be a highly owned quarterback this week. And Gerson, you have the other highly owned quarterback on your list as well, Jalen Hurts. Talk about him a little bit.
I don't want to talk about him. I want to talk about my other value.
All right, go ahead. Talk about him.
Man, it's old man River. Nobody wants to play him, right? Hey, I mean, this guy, he's just boring, right? Like, everybody's like, oh, yeah, he's kind of just boring. But against the Houston Texans, they ranked 26th in pass DVOA. This game, shockingly, is 51 over-under. River is just, he ranks 11th in passing yards per game, too. That came kind of shocking to me. I was like, all right, let's see what else we can cook up in this game. But then T.Y. Hilton's kind of like, I guess his grandma's finally proud of him. Good job, T.Y. Hilton. Well, it took you what, 14 weeks? But maybe grandma's gonna give him a little gift for Christmas, But no, yeah, give me Phillip River. I mean, he's a really good value for me, and I'm gonna stack that game with Phillip River versus the Texans, and you can run it back with it's sad to say this, but Chad Hansen, Brandon Cook, Kiki Kuti, but
it's week 15 when we're talking about Chad Hansen.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's kind of sad. Like I said.
Yeah, I want to talk about Jalen Hurts though, man, because I'll be honest. Last week I was not really on him. In the arena, I was stupid enough to play Mike Glennon, but by Sunday I had pretty much moved over to Mitch Trubisky. He ended up being in my best stack of the week, so that actually ended up working. But I'm going to go to Jalen Hurts this week. Last week, I think we were all kind of surprised how well he played. I think we knew he was going to get a number of designed runs, but he had 18 rush attempts. I didn't think he had quite that high a floor, especially against New Orleans Saints.
Oh, I wasn't surprised because I said Jalen Hurts is a cash game quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he had a high floor, but I didn't think he had 106 yards. I said I think he kind of overperformed what a lot of people thought he was going to last week. But anyway, the point for me is that I think that this week he's in such a good spot against Arizona, one of the fastest-paced teams in the league. They play a lot of man defense, so I think they're going to get another ton of designed runs for him. And I think that the game script and everything kind of points to him being a great play. And I think with Brees coming out today, he's going to be lower owned than he would have been. I think Taysom still would have taken some of that ownership, but I think Brees is definitely going to cut into that ownership. Right now, Jalen Hurts is my cash game quarterback.
Yeah, he's a Konami code. And what people don't know what Konami code is it's a running quarterback with passing upside too. I mean, that's a great call, Tim.
Yeah, I thought maybe he would throw the ball like 15, 20 times last game, and he threw the ball 30 times. So 30 passes, 18 runs. That's a good recipe for a cash game quarterback, especially at 5,900.
Yeah, I love that. I love that call. The only other guy that I have on here, and it's kind of dependent on Matt Stafford, is Chase Daniels. He's super cheap. He's $5K. Tends to get up the fifth most points to quarterbacks. He's somebody that you're playing as a contrarian value play. And, I think that obviously the guys you mentioned are going to be the chalk plays. But Chase Daniels is not a bad quarterback. And at $5K against Tennessee, he could be putting some points up there for you as well. I think there's some good stacking options with him. All right. You ready to move to tight ends, guys?
Yes, sir.
Did somebody say tight ends?
All right, so there's really only one top tier tight end this week, and I'll let Tim talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually feel really bad that I didn't have more of this guy last week. I think we all do, really. We all kind of like, pay down at tight end last week, and obviously if you won anything big, you probably had Kelsey. A lot of people actually played him in cash much higher than I thought was going to be originally, but some of that is due to Washington opening up last Saturday or Sunday morning. But I think you go right back to Kelsey here. Early in the season, New Orleans was one of the worst teams against tight end. They got a little bit better as a team as the year went on, but no team can cover Travis Kelsey. He obviously has, he's number one in the league in receiving yards. He's far and away the number one tight end. He gives you a huge advantage on any slate that he's on because of that, especially since there's no Darren Waller, so there's nobody even close to him in terms of ceiling. Yes, he's 8K. Yes, you have to pay up for him, but he's Travis fucking Kelsey. Just do it.
Yeah, and then the next guy really from 8K can all the way down to 5.5K. And Gerson, you got him on your list. Talk about Mr. Mark Andrews.
I mean, it's just Mark Andrews. He's a safety blanket. It's just you're gonna target him. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought Mark Andrews was really just gonna stop playing football after he got diagnosed with COVID, and that made me sad because I thought he's a great player. But with that being said, in DFS, we look for tight ends that get touchdowns and target. And Mark Andrews has been getting that lately. I mean, last week he got 6 targets, 7 targets, 9 targets in the last 3 weeks. So, I mean, a lot of people were down on him last week versus Cleveland, but that game was incredible. But he got 78 yards. I think it's going to be the same trend, especially against the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the worst teams against tight end in DVP, 22nd overall. And he should be the second highest owned tight end, in my opinion. I think right now we have him projected at 11.9% ownership. Pretty high. So, yeah, he is the second highest owned tight end next to Travis Kelsey. So, in a game that has a 30-point implied total, give me Andrews, especially with what's his name out. Marquise Brown, is he out?
Yeah, he's out. So is Boykins and their other rookie Prochet all got COVID.
So he should get a lot of targets in this game. I mean, I don't think this really – when you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, it doesn't really, you shouldn't be like, oh, my gosh, these wide receivers are out because he just target whoever trying to, make it easy for him,
And just got mentioned in the chat, I must have missed this news, but I guess Stafford did practice today, limited practice, so it looks like it won't be Chase Daniels. But it actually helps my next call here, staying in the mid-tier tight ends with Hockenson. Yeah. If Stafford plays, Hockenson definitely at 5.2 versus Tennessee is a great play. There's no Galladay right now, so Hockenson's getting a ton of targets. And he's kind of that next guy right under Andrews that I kind of like this week at 5.2.
Yep.
All right, let's move into the value tier, Tim. Who you got in your values?
Yeah, this was somebody I was already on before today, and I was definitely got higher on today, and that's Mr. Jared Cook. It seems like he already is one of Drew Brees' favorite end-zone targets, and then you take away Michael Thomas from that, and I think that only adds to it. Last week we saw that Mike Gesicki and Travis Kelsey stacks won a lot of tournaments, and I think that you can go back to it because of the way that Kansas City plays the tight end position. I think Jared Cook is going to be a good option here. I don't think he's going to get the volume that Gesicki got, but I think he could very well have that 2-touchdown game. At 3,400, I think he's a great value, and he allows you to fit in a lot of the higher price guys that we've talked about. I didn't make this note on Kelsey, but I will if you need one more note on Travis Kelsey. He's the only guy that I would consider playing tight end 3 times this year. Tight end, 2 tight end has won. And I think this is a viable strategy this week if you want to play Travis Kelsey in the flex. But yeah, I think Jared Cook is just a great option if you want to pair with him and play both of them in that game.
Yeah, I love Cook, especially once Brees got ruled in. I think Cook's value definitely spiked a little bit. And then with MT being out, he's the red zone threat. Gerson, who do you got in your values?
I got Cole Kmet. This guy I had Adam Troutman as the best rookie tight end, but Cole Kmet came number 2, and then there was nobody else. Everybody else was a piece of shit, so nobody cared about the rest of them. So it's just 2 tight ends this year. But Cole Kmet saw another 7 target last week versus the Texan. He caught 4 of them, 41 yards. I mean, this guy, he came from, was it Notre Dame, Jeff? Where do you come from?
You got me, man. I don't pay attention to what school they come from.
Ryan Thurkoff, where are you when we need you?
I know. We need someone that watches college football. I'm not one of them.
He's incredible. But, I mean, it's just he's $3,000 on DraftKings. I mean, you're going to want to pay down this week unless you're not paying up for Kelsey. I mean, I actually like Montgomery and T.J. Hawkinson, of course. But, like Tim said, though, today – it's just an incredible value for Jared Cook.
Yeah.
With Michael Thomas being out, I think that's the tight end you want to pay down for. But Cole Kmet can be a contrarian play, but Cook is the way to go, man.
And it looks like the chat chimed in. It was Notre Dame, so you were right, Gerson.
Oh, okay.
And then the other thing that I had on Kmet, last week I had him as a value in my my FanDuel column on Fantasy Pros, and he got vultured a touchdown from Jimmy Graham. He was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
He had like 4 catches, 43 yards, something like that.
7 targets, yeah. I actually had the note. He played 85% of snaps, even with Jimmy Graham getting 48.
Yeah.
So obviously Chicago has pivoted to multiple snaps at 2 tight ends.
Yep. And I was just going to say Jimmy Graham is questionable too. So there's a chance if he's out, then it's Kmet all the way. So I love that Kmet call. The other guy I got, of course, my boy that I've called out.
We got to talk about your boy.
Yeah, ISJ, Irv Smith Jr. at Chicago. Rudolph's already been ruled out, so he will be the one there. We've kind of seen flashes of it. He's athletic. He's getting the targets now. So I do think that he's sort of going to have a late breakout to the season. He's going to continue his breakout here in Chicago as long as he can stay healthy. But ISJ at 3.6 is one of my values as well.
It's okay, Jeff. You can let it out. You can celebrate now.
I still have the Kill Harry to worry about. that one's still holding me back.
About him.
And it's kind of weird that Irv and Kmet are both in that same game, and I think they're 2 of the better tight end plays on the board. Yep. But yeah, I wouldn't play them both. I think you got to pick one, but I think you can go either way.
Agreed. All right, guys, that wraps up the tight ends. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll do running backs and receivers, so hold tight. What's up, everyone? Jeff Lambert here, and I want to tell you about Society Socks. Is your sock drawer kind of boring? I know mine is. Society Socks is a men's sock subscription company that sends 2 pairs of exclusively designed socks to your door every month. These socks are made of a warm, soft, and comfortable blend of combed cotton, guaranteed to make your feet feel and look great. At the office or the bar, your socks are sure to be a hit. You might be wondering, why are they called Society Socks? Well, that's the best part. Socks are one of the most needed and least donated items at homeless shelters. Society Socks aims to change that. With every pair of socks purchased, another pair of socks is donated to homeless shelters. So on top of receiving awesome socks every month and amping up your sock drawer, you are actively making a positive change in society. With 2 surprise pairs of socks arriving at your door every month, you'll begin to grow an impressive sock collection. Visit mysocietysocks.com/armchair and enter our promo code ARMCHAIR to get 50% off your first subscription. Put an end to boring socks and subscribe today. Again, that's mysocietysocks.com/armchair and use promo code ARMCHAIR. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm here with Tim and Gerson, and we're about to jump into the running backs. And
I wasn't the only one that noticed that. Okay, cool.
What'd I say? What happened? What'd I do? What'd I do?
That's not the intro to the show, right? Isn't that like the start of it?
That was just that was the. What are you talking about? Intro. That was the break music.
I don't know.
Oh. So Gerson,
running back.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
It's time for running backs. Running backs.
All right, Gerson, we're going to give you the guy that everyone's talking about.
Oh, man. King Henry. He has a right.
Hail the king.
Oh, hell, King Henry! I mean, we all know this. Cold weather, big boy, you can't take him down. Yeah, it sounded a little homo, but okay. Not. But no, I mean, Derrick Henry, he just in December, he just dominates. And we said this last week. I mean, against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think I quoted that he averaged 180 yards and 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And guess what? He did it. I mean, just play the man. I mean, he's the new Christian McCaffrey, but in December. It's incredible what this guy does in the winter. And it's kind of stupid to say it because you would think, oh, weather don't matter in football. But with Derrick Henry, it's hard to take him down. And guess who's playing him? Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
And you have a quarterback. Well, actually, he's going to play, I guess they said, right? Matthew Stafford. I still don't see this game even being close. I think Tennessee Titans are going to blow this team out. No Kenny Golladay. Even with DeAndre Swift coming back. Well, he came back last week, right? He played? Swift? Did he play last week?
Yeah, he played. He didn't play as many snaps. I think he's fully cleared now.
He's not really there, though. He's decoy duty.
Yeah, he's super.
Julio at this point. You know what I mean? Like if they play, they're like half there.
Super expensive though, $9,500. They have a Vegas implied total of 31 points. But guess what? He's gonna be the highest owned running back. If you want to recontrain, yeah, sure, you can fade him. But then guess what? You might lose a lot of money because he 39 points last week, and then he had 6 points against Cleveland. Okay, yeah, you faded him. Good job. But guess what? The week before that, he got 41 points. Yeah. So pick your poison, buddy.
Yep.
I'm playing Henry.
Yep. And then he took that rushing title, and he's not going to let it go. He's going for 2K.
Yep.
It's just a Henry fest until the end of the year.
Yep.
Oh, do you see the shout out by Barry Sanders too? That was badass. Barry Sanders appreciated his talent. I'm like, okay. You got one of the I would say he wanted to go running back, but okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I will say that of a player not named Drew Brees, I don't think any player got a higher projection bump today than Alvin Kamara, right? That was obviously the biggest thing. Like Michael, first of all, Drew Brees is coming back. Okay, that's a bump. Michael Thomas is out. That's another bump, right? So you just saw his projection just like creep up throughout the day. Jeff says he has 7,400. Yeah, at 7,400, he's just too cheap. I think if this news would have come out before the slate, he'd be, well over $8,000. He's at least, $1,000, $1,500 too cheap. I think you pretty much have to try and get him and Henry into your cash game lineups this week. I know it's tough to do. I know you got to find the value, but that's kind of where I'm starting all of my lineups. We've seen his splits with Drew Brees are just, insane. He's got that 8 to 10 target volume in addition to getting probably, 8, 10 touches on the ground as well. So, and Kansas City is one of the worst teams against running backs. We saw Mr. running back wide receiver Lynn Bowden last week get his work in against this defense. And obviously, Alvin Kamara is much more talented. So, everything just sets up to him to be probably one of the best plays on the slate. And he's going to be very highly owned, but obviously for good reason.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, Henry, Kamara, that's what I had on my list as well. But, Tim, you had one more guy that, neither me nor Gerson had. Talk about Dalvin Cook a little bit.
I do, and this guy is just Mr. Consistency. Last week I said I don't want to play this guy because he's playing Tampa Bay, and obviously if you played Henry instead of Cook, you made the right decision, but he still managed 22 points, one of the first players, I think the only player all year to score more than 100, get more than 100 yards rushing against Tampa Bay. And then this week he gets a better matchup at home against Chicago Bears. Obviously the game script's going to, favor him here. Earlier in the week, I think there was actually a good amount of talk about whether or not to play Cook or Henry. I think Henry is clearly the choice for me, but I could certainly play Cook, especially in tournaments, because I don't think he'll be nearly as highly owned.
Definitely.
But you could argue that he's the only other person that gives you that kind of 20-plus point floor other than Henry and maybe Kamara. So I think it's more of a pivot play, more of a leverage play, just because I think the other two guys are going to be so much chalkier. And just the fact that he just seems to put up 20 points every week.
Yep, I agree 100%. I think he's the pivot in GPPs right there. I think he's the guy you go with if you're not going to play Henry or Kamara. You tap on Cook. Moving down into the mid-tier, Gerson, who do you got in your mid-tier?
Well, guys, he has arrived, but it took him fucking 14 weeks against my Raiders. Now, actually, he had been breaking out for what, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe?
Yeah. Ever since he got benched, that's really what it was, man. Sometimes that's what it takes.
I mean, sometimes,
right?
Hey, motherfucker, you go to the bench. You better ride that bitch till you get hot. And now he's hot. His name is Jonathan Taylor. I mean, this guy was one of the highly touted running backs of the years for rookie draft. I mean, he was what, Jeff? Like 101 or 102?
Yep. Right, 102. Yeah, pretty much.
In my book, he was 101.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He was either 101 or 102.
Yeah.
No, Tim, you're more right, though. Yeah, everybody was going CEH over Jonathan Taylor. But in my rookie dynasty, I said Jonathan Taylor was the best running back in this year's draft. And so far, well, I think by the end of the season, he's going to prove that he is the best rookie running back in this league.
Next to James Robinson.
Yeah, it's like 13 weeks of James Robinson.
Okay. Hey, man, season's not over yet. Maybe he goes off for another 250 yards in this game. No, I mean, the Houston Texans, they ranked 29th in DVOA against the running back. This game has a 29 implied total. Again, I'm going back to the Houston Texans versus Indianapolis Colts game. Kind of sad. But I love Jonathan Taylor because I think they realized to win this game, you play defense. You're gonna have to run the ball because Deshaun Watson he can swing the ball, and Jonathan Taylor coming up at 21% ownership. It's just pretty much incredible. But for real, it's just Taylor 7,200. It's a little bit pricier than what we would want to expect, right? But I think he's a great player in this game.
I think Kamara helped him a lot because I think he probably would have been pushing 30% owned.
Yeah.
And I think the Kamara news is going to have the ownership on him down a little bit. I want you to talk about this next guy, Jeff.
You may talk about Akers.
Y'all both have him, and I'm kind of.
All right, so yeah, I got Akers actually in my main dynasty league, and I want to give you all a sad story because had I started Akers over Kiki QT in my season long dynasty league, my main league, that's my big money league, I would have won this week. Unfortunately, I put QT in over Cam Akers, and Cam Akers got, 24 points. He's finally taken the reins there. It looks like he is the lead back. We saw what the lead back could do when Gurley was there, if they used him the right way. He's still not involved in the passing game, which I'd like to see a little bit more of that if we can get some passing game, because he was a good pass catcher at Florida State, so I think he can definitely do that. And then, of course, he's playing the Jets. And like I said, playing the Jets is just like a smash accept on that one, because when you play the Jets, everyone's going to be good. So it's 6.6 versus the Jets. If he gets the 20-plus carries he's been getting.
Easy button. That's what it is. The Jets are the easy button.
Exactly. Smash the easy button. It's the easiest choice right there to make. So Akers is my guy versus the Jets at 6.6.
So you don't think that was a specific game plan for last week? You think that was a change in philosophy?
I think it was, because if you even look, I think the week before that, what did he get the week before?
He was getting carries. He the last, like Jeff said, the last 3 weeks now, his uptick has been going up and up. I think it's because he's healthy now.
Yeah. I think versus Arizona, he had 21 carries. Last week versus New England, he had 29 carries. So he's definitely getting plenty of carries there. And I think what it was, too, is I read a thing on him. Like I said, I followed him pretty closely. He was my rookie I drafted. There was a note on him that he wasn't doing things off the ball very well. It means basically blocking, running the right routes, those kind of things. But I think he's finally got that figured out. And now they're giving him the ball, and he's crushing it. So Akers at 6.6 is in a smash spot. The only other guy that I really had that I wanted to talk about is David Montgomery. He's another guy that's been crushing it over the last couple of weeks. I think he's got 3 weeks in a row now with, I think, at least 27 points. They're finally giving him the ball. For some reason, the offensive line suddenly seems to be playing a lot better for him. Matching up against Minnesota at 7,000, their 20th DVA versus the run. So Demont definitely is in play as well.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's not the offensive line. His name is Mr. Trubisky. When Mr. Trubisky played, David Montgomery produced. And that's sad to say. I don't know how, but if you go and look at the game log when Mr. Trubisky plays, David Montgomery does good.
Huh, interesting. I wonder if they're worried about him running the ball, and that's why they kind of give Montgomery a little bit of leeway. But, yeah, I mean, he's crushed it the last couple
I
of
want
weeks.
you to skip over the other guy you had there, Jeff, my boy Swifty. He finally got back in action last week against Green Bay and actually looked pretty good. They didn't give him any rushes on the ground, but he got 5 targets straight out the gate. So I think at 6,400, he definitely makes an interesting option. He's going to come in much lower owned than Cam Akers, and I think he makes a great run back option in your Tannehill stack.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think this week he'll be fully healthy. I think they tried to protect him a little bit last week with a concussion. I got a little scary there for a little while with his, not being able to remember things and those kind of stuff. But I think he's back fully healthy now. Galladay's still going to be out this week, and I think Swift is going to be carrying the load versus Tennessee, who's not very strong against the run. So yeah, Swift in the passing game and running game, he's going to be awesome at 6.4. He's my other mid-tier guy. All right, Tim, let's go down to the values here. You got some good values down here. Talk about one of your values.
Yeah, the first one I have here is Kenyon Drake, and I put if Edmonds is out. I think I kind of like Drake even if he plays, but I really like him if he's out. Earlier in the year, I think I said this last week, I was the first person to say that Kenyon Drake has looked like shit, and he turned a corner. He's been playing better the last few weeks. They've actually been getting him involved in the pass game. All the reasons that I didn't like him earlier in the year. So I think that part of it is also that they've been trying to protect Kyler a little bit, not letting him take as many hits on the run. So you combine that with the fact he's getting more rushes, more pass game usage, actually getting some of the goal line carries. I think at 5,500, especially if Edmonds is out, Drake is one of my favorite plays on the board.
I like it. I like Drake a lot, especially if Edmonds is out, like you mentioned. Gerson, who do you got in your values?
This is the reason why I love doing the show, because I didn't even know Edmonds was dealing with injuries. But if he's out, then hell yeah, give me all the Kenyon Drake, baby. Guys, that's to do it. It's the season. Release the Dobbin! J.K. Dobbin, baby. Ryan Siricroft would be so proud of me right now. But I think it's time. I mean, we've seen the carries and upstick with Dobbin. But then there's also another guy named Gus the Bus, they call him. But I think in this game environment, they're going to see what they got with Dobbin. I mean, we're coming toward the end of the season. I mean, we know Dobbin's the future. I mean, last week he had 13 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. But I think Dobbin can have one of those long breakaway touchdowns for like 80 yards. And the crazy thing is, my projection is coming out at 15 points. So 900, 15 points, that's pretty good. Obviously, that's the median. We want higher, right?
Right.
But like we were saying early on, maybe Tim and Jeff were onto something. Maybe Lamar Jackson not gonna risk his injuries and all that. They're just gonna run the ball. And so if you want to play Gus the Bus or if you want to play J.K. Dobbin, it's a good play. But I think the guy that I want to play in GPP that has a higher ceiling is definitely J.K. Dobbin. Yeah. But I mean, does anybody even know what J.K. stands for? If anybody,
I don't.
If anybody
look it up over. But I did make a note here that I thought that the rookie stack was one of my favorite low-owned kind of. It's not really a stack, but I don't think that Akers, Taylor, and Dobbins will be played much together. I think they'll all be played a little bit separately, but I don't think anybody's going to play them together. So if you want a lineup that's really contrarian but still full of good plays, his name is Jacalyn. So that's what JK stands for, Jacalyn.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think if you wanted to do it,
damn.
Yeah. So anyway, I think if you want to play all three rookies in a GPP lineup and mix it around with like maybe a Tannehill stack or something like that, you could be contrarian and still have some good plays. So I agree, it's definitely rookie season.
It is 2020, right? Like, I mean, someone just won like $500,000 playing Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it.
And just like last week, I think 2 weeks ago, some guy won a showdown with leaving $5,000 on the table.
Wow.
So, you got to get really different these days to win some of these big tournaments.
Everybody just start playing all of our sick calls. You're going to win $1 million.
Yeah.
All right. I got two guys we haven't talked about yet. One of them I think will be pretty chalky, Mr. Leonard Fournette. Of course, we heard that Ronald Jones has got COVID. He's not going to play this week.
Wait. What's his real name?
Who? Oh, Uncle Lenny. Uncle Lenny.
Yeah!
There we go. Uncle Lenny at Atlanta at 4.5. Atlanta actually is pretty tough against the run. But if you're in a high-powered offense like the Tampa Bay Bucks are, and you're getting pretty much all the work, you're going to be valuable at 4.5. So Fournette for me is definitely one of the top values. And then McKissick, who kind of burned us a little bit last week because he didn't get many targets. He did get some good yards on the ground, but that's because of game script. They got up big on the 49ers, and they didn't need him to catch the ball anymore. But this week against Seattle, Seattle will put up points. They will need McKissick in the passing game. He will get those targets that he didn't get last week. So I do think McKissick at 5.7 is also going to be a great play as well. Anybody else before we get to the receivers, guys?
Nope.
All right, let's do it.
And now, wide receivers.
All right, Tim, we'll kick it off with you. Who's your elite level receiver?
Yeah, it's Mr. Tyreek Hill. I know I mentioned Kelsey in the tight end section, and I think that Kelsey is a great play this week. But my favorite play, probably maybe on the whole slate, is Tyreek Hill, and it's just because of his ability to break a slate. He's 8,800, so he's priced like it. But I don't know that there's anybody on this slate that has a higher ceiling than Tyreek Hill. Like I said, I think that you obviously have to pay for him, right? At 8,800, you're going to have to make a decision. Cook's 200 more, Henry 700 more, right? These are decisions you're going to have to make. But if you're making a Brees stack, especially, I really want to try and run it back with Tyreek Hill. Just like I said, nobody gives you the feeling that he does.
Yep, I like that. Tyreek definitely.
Can we just cover all the wide receivers in this game? Because that's, I think, what
pretty much.
It's really going to come down to. And I hate to be this guy, but like in this game, you're gonna want to target. So let's just bounce this back and forth with all of our wide receivers we have in this game. So he just mentioned Tyreek Hill. I'm gonna mention Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, he just became a value in this game. Obviously, with Michael Thomas being out, Emmanuel Sanders could have had a big ass game last week, but Taysom Hill. Since I hate him because he's a BYU player and I'm a Utah fan. But anyway, Taysom Hill overthrew him, and he could have had like a 20-point game. And I was hoping for that because in my Dynasty League, I had him. And guess what? I lost by 4 points, and Jeff knows this because I'm a little fucking sore loser. And Jeff knows this. My team was pretty badass.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
With Julio Jones being out, George Kittle being out, I lost. But whatever. I'm a sore loser. I'll take it, whatever. But Emmanuel Sanders in this game, I think with Drew Brees coming back, he can get you at least, I can't say at least, but at least 12 points, But I think his ceiling is higher. But for sure, this game's going to be crazy. We have to target this game a lot. I think the next player, maybe Jeff will mention it. His name is Trey.
Trequan Smith.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't like Trequan Smith. I have him on my Dynasty roster. I don't. I can't. I've tried to buy into him too much, and he's burned me one too many times.
You wrote him up in the offseason.
I did, and he let me down. He's on my cut list on my Dynasty roster because he's been. He's had his chances. He's been the number one receiver a few weeks this year. And when MT was out and Sanders was out with COVID. He was the number one guy, and he didn't show up. So I'm kind of giving up on him a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about a guy now that shows up every week, and that's Calvin Ridley. Okay, that's why he's 8,200. I think he's the only other guy worth paying up for, and that's because he's shown that even with Julio out, he still gets the job done. Right? We expect him to probably be behind in this game, have to throw in this game. You really can't run against Tampa Bay. You have to target them with wide receivers, and they've pretty much shown that if Julio's out, they're going to give him 8, 10, 12 targets every single week. And finally, DraftKings priced him up like he should be because at 20, he's been averaging 19.9 points a game. So, that's where he should be priced on that level. But with the news that Julio's out, I think he's going to be in that same spot where he's going to get at least 10 targets again against Tampa Bay. I think he's got easily 3x value written all over him, and he could easily go for 30. So I don't think he'll be very highly played. I think a lot of times people see Julio's out and just skip over the Falcons, but he's been still putting up numbers even with Julio out.
Yeah, I like Ridley a lot. You got two more guys, Gerson, in your elite tier, Hopkins and Allen Robinson.
I just want to tell everybody that plays fantasy football, don't play Matt Ryan. Just fade him. I mean, he's horrible. I mean, to give you an idea, with Jones, he has 8 games, 312 yards, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 19.96 points per game. Without Julio Jones, or Jeff, he looked like Jimmy Garoppolo, 232 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and 10 points per game. But anyways, no, I mean, I think a lot of people are not going to look at him, but I think it's Allen Robinson. I mean, this guy has just been producing this year. I think he honestly doesn't want to be on this team. We all know this, but when you get paid good money, you got to play for him, right? But Robinson's just a target monster. Wrong note. But sorry. I mean, the matchup is great. 27th DDP, but also the matchup. It's Minnesota, guys. Let's be honest here. We've been targeting all their cornerbacks every year, every week, week in and week out. But he's coming in a very high ownership for 10% on wide receivers. But 7,400 is kind of pricey, right? But I'm gonna be contrarian and play Allen Robinson. I think Mr. Trubisky and him have something very special. I mean, last week he got 30 points. Did anybody see that coming? Because I didn't.
No one saw that coming.
I did. I was very high. He was actually in my top stack. I was very high on Robinson last week. And I think it's just because Trubisky, like you just said, he doesn't care. Like, it reminds me a little bit of Fitzpatrick a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, where's Robinson at? Okay, I'm just throwing in that direction. Like, Boyles used to do that when he was on the Jaguars, right? Just look up and find Allen Robinson and just throw it in his general direction. So that's what we're looking for, more or less, right? Get him the targets, give him a chance to score. And last week, like I said, Trubisky stack was my top stack. So
I just think, like, if you look at it at the beginning of the season, Robinson played what? I mean, Trubisky played until like up to week 6 maybe, and before that, week 5 he got 16 targets. Week 10 he got 10 targets. Week 3 he got 13 targets, and then guess what? That was Trubisky. And now we're going back to the same rhythm. It's just 13 targets, 123 yards, and a touchdown. You know what? I want to be contrarian. I'm going to play Allen Robinson.
I like it.
Yep.
And then my contrarian play that I saved for the end here, you got Tyreek Hill, who would be the chalk. He's the top guy. You got Calvin Ridley and D-Hop right underneath this guy. But DK Metcalf is kind of my Dalvin Cook, if you will, with Tim and the running backs. He's the guy that's going to be kind of overlooked a little bit. And DK Metcalf, I know it's a tough matchup versus Washington, but it's DK Metcalf, and he's pretty much crushed anyone that he's played up against. So I think Metcalf is going to be good at 8.6, and he'll be much lower owned than the rest of the guys we just talked about.
Well, Tim knows this. Is Fuller going to be on him?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, whenever you look at DK Metcalf, go in the chart, see who's lined up against him. Nobody's that big, right? It's just it's no comparison. Yes, it is. I expect it to be Fuller. And he is obviously a good corner, but he's not, he's 5'11", 187, 6'3", 228. Like, it doesn't get much more of a mismatch than that.
What are you saying right here? I'm like 6'1", 260 pounds versus you, Tim. Like, what are you? I don't know your height, but I know you're at least 180. Maybe I'm wrong. But guess what? I can burn your ass.
Hey, so and speaking of mismatches, we talked about it earlier in the quarterbacks. I think Jeff had Goff. We pretty much played players against the Jets every week. We're going to run that right back this week with the Rams passing game. My boy Bobby Trees, and I'm going to have a lot of exposure here. I'm going to have a lot of them as players and other lineups in addition to in Goff stacks, because I think that there's a good chance one of these two guys is in your top scoring lineup this week, so I'm going to have plenty of exposure.
I like it. Gerson, who do you have in your mid tier?
Well, I'm coming right back to what Tim said. I'm going the other way. We got Robert Wood and Cooper Kupp, and that's it. But honestly, I don't want to steal your guy, Jeff, because you're going to masturbate about him every night. I'm going to go to Brandon Cook. Like I said, I've been targeting this game in Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans. With Brandon Cook, I mean, he was out last week. Oh, well, where's that? I mean, it's just to me, is this. I always try to target wide receivers that I say can have long passing touchdowns. And Brandon Cook for sure is one of those guys. For me, it's this. Deshaun Watson, nobody's going to play him this week. And I know that. Because there's other quarterbacks that are very high, higher percentage owned. But Cook is just one of those contrarian wide receivers. I've been saying this all show because I'm a GPP player. Everybody knows that. I don't play cash game. I don't care about cash game. I find them very boring. But Brandon Cook, if he had like a 120-yard day, one touchdown, that's great for the value I'm looking for. And that's the guy I'm trying to target in this game environment. And the funny thing is, the next mid-tier wide receiver I have coming right back is T.Y. Hilton. And I'm trying to go contrarian, trying to play a little bit GPP. And I think, obviously, T.Y. Hilton's not going to be contrarian because everybody wants to play him. Everybody wants to play him.
Whenever volume and narrative street come together, it's guaranteed to be chalk.
Yeah, exactly.
So the funny thing is, this is how they say it, right? Everybody wants to play him. Him, his mama, and his grandma want to play him, That's the way I put it. T.Y. Hilton. I mean, you want to go back and forth, maybe it'd be a contrarian stack. If it's even Phillip Rivers, a higher ownership quarterback, or if it's Deshaun Watson, a GPP quarterback, being low owned. But those are my two mid-tier guys. I mean, obviously the Rams wide receiver. One of the things where Tim was saying, the Rams matchup is more dependent on the coverage because they play a cover. They don't play man. And Robert Wood and Cooper Kupp, they shred that shit.
Yep.
Yeah, they kill zone. Yeah, they kill zone.
Sure.
Yep.
So I know we're going to leave Jeff his favorite play here. I just really quick want to talk about the last guy I have in my mid-tier. And that's somebody who burned me last week. But you guys know whenever somebody is chalk and they burn you, you want to go back to it if they're in a good spot the next week because they will be much lower owned. And that's Mr. Corey Davis. Last week was obviously Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown week. If you had Corey Davis like I did, he burned you. But he burned a lot of other people as well. So he's still 5,800. He gets an excellent matchup against Detroit, who can't stop the run or the pass. We saw, obviously, MVS in the number 2 role have a good game against them last week. So I think if you're going to be doing Tannehill stacks to get off of the Henry chalk, I think Corey Davis will be lower owned than he should be considering the matchup.
I like it. Yeah, in season long, we call that the post-type sleeper, where I think he's the post-chalk guy this week. So I think he's going to be.
They call it, a lot of people call it flop lag. I always like that too.
Nice. I like that one.
It didn't work out this week, so it'll flop lag to next week.
Nice. And then the guy y'all keep leaving for me, of course, Mr. Brandon Ayuk, who's been great. I mean, thank God, because Deebo Samuel's been in and out of the lineup all year. He's out once again. You look at his last 4 games played: 10 targets, 14 targets, 9 targets. He had 16 targets last week with Deebo out. He gets a good matchup, I think, against Dallas, who we know can't cover anybody. They've been playing a little bit better lately, but still not good enough. I do think that Mullins doesn't look his way early and often at 6.3. I think Ayuk's going to be pretty chalky this week.
Yeah, it's not often you get a player that has projected 10 targets in the 6K range, so I think he's going to be very chalky, but again, for good reason.
Yep, agreed. All right, let's move down to the values, Tim. What do you got in your values?
Yeah, again, I think I'm going to go back to the Dallas wide receivers on the other side of that same game. I think that they're going to have to throw because I think that they're going to struggle to run the ball. Zink is a little bit banged up, and I think that San Francisco is going to pretty much say, you're not going to let Zeke beat us. So I think both CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup make great value plays this week. I think I'm a little bit higher on CeeDee Lamb. Even though he's not playing as many snaps, I think San Francisco is a little bit more susceptible on the middle of the field, on the inside, as opposed to the outside. And he's still getting a good number of targets every game, even not playing as many snaps. So at 4,500, I think he's a great play. I think Gallup is also a good play at 3,500. Again, he burned a lot of people last week. His price has come down, so it's usually a good time to follow up and play him. Yep,
I like it. Gerson, you talked about your guy earlier already, Emmanuel Sanders as a value, but any other one you want to talk about before we move on to the...
Yeah, did we mention LBJ?
We did not.
We did not.
It's not LeBron James. You guys know that, right? Lynn Bowden Jr. I can't believe this guy. I mean, seriously, he kind of maybe save my run to the championship if I make it next week. But Lynn Bowden Jr., it's all dependent between injury, right?
Yeah, Parker and
Devontae Adams. Not Devontae Parker. I wish he was Devontae Adams. If Devontae Parker's out, and Jakeem Grant? He's also dealing with injury, right?
Yep.
If they're both out, then guess what? Yeah, this guy's free.
So this guy was drafted by your Raiders, I guess taken by your Raiders, as a running back. And they looked at him. They evaluated him in camp and said, this guy is a running back. And then they cut him, and the Dolphins pick him up, and they're like, this guy's a wide receiver.
They traded him.
No. We didn't cut him.
We traded
him. We got ripped off.
Okay.
I know this because we
gave
him
a misevaluation by the Raiders. That was my point.
Oh, sorry, we're not the Green Bay Packers owned by.
Oh, no, that's not what I was going for. I'm just saying that this is a guy who was brought into.
Tim, we just lost a game last night by a white quarterback going like this over the pylon. No, I'm kidding. No, honestly, we traded him. Yeah, to the Miami Dolphins for I think it was like a 6th-round pick and some compensation and a player that we don't even care about. But it all worked out, whatever. For them, not us. But no, I mean, Lynn Bowden Jr., this guy's what do you call him? What do you call him, Jeff? Like a utility player?
Yeah, he's like a less athletic Curtis Samuel or Ty Montgomery.
Because he even played quarterback a little bit in college, too.
You know what he did when he played NCAA in back then days? It was just called a utility player, authentic, whatever.
Offensive weapon.
He is. But anyways,
OW from the XFL. OW, offensive weapon.
Yeah. I think if Parker and Grant are out, he's definitely gonna be in play, and he can be projected higher on Sunday, and he can be the new DeAndre Washington basically.
Yeah.
Because his price is ridiculous. I think he should be played in almost every lineup. If those injuries happen, he should definitely be one of the top value plays. But the thing to me is this, and this is my opinion though. I think Lynn Bowden Jr. can get targeted a lot because the way he plays is just Tua Tagovailoa. He targets those short routes and everything. Yep. Tua Tagovailoa is kind of like a little pansy. Like he just takes the shortcut, and that's the truth. I mean, this guy's conservative. Like, you saw in Alabama, he's like, well, obviously in Alabama, you have the best wide receiver in the country, like Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, and many other guys, that Ryan Sick. We're giving too many shout-out to Ryan Sickroff tonight.
He's got a bunch.
It's just a sneak preview for the offseason. I'm just letting everybody know. But anyways, Lynn Bowden Jr. is probably one of the best values at wide receiver / running back for fantasy football and all that. But I love this guy. I mean, I think this guy is very talented, and he's not a bad football player, I guess you can say, right?
Right.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah, so one guy I really like for value this week, and it's somebody I haven't really played a lot of this year, but I think I'm going to play some this week, and that's DJ Chark.
Yes.
I think that he's not only a great play with Minshew, but things kind of worked out with the Baltimore Ravens because as of right now, Jimmy Smith is out and Marcus Peters was DNP all week in practice. So we know Marlon Humphrey has been mostly playing slot this year, and DJ Chark spends over 80% of his time on the outside. So I think this is going to be a rare matchup where you can actually take advantage of the Ravens at the wide receiver position. So if there's anybody that has a 5X type ceiling in that 5K range, I think it's DJ Chark.
I love it. Yeah, I like Chark a lot. I forgot about the injuries there, too. You're right. They're both injured. They're both probably not going to play this weekend. Good stuff. All right, let's get to the defenses.
Defense.
All right, Tim, who we playing this week?
Yeah, right.
I need you back in the chair like, Tim, what do you say? What are you playing this week?
Yeah, I was actually hoping that this play was not going to be as popular, but after looking around a little bit, it seems like a lot of people are on this. I know, Jeff, you did this a couple weeks ago. Whenever Bill Belichick has the opportunity to play a rookie quarterback, you play the Patriots defense. They're priced right at $3,000. They are currently an underdog, but I think that he's going to have a good game plan to shut Tua down, and I think that the Patriots end up winning this game. So my favorite kind of mid-tier, I don't think you can pay $4,500 for the Rams, but I think if any team has a double-digit projection on defense, it's the Rams this week. But I think most of us are going to be paying down closer to that 3K range, and so I'm going to go with the Patriots.
All right. I like it. Gerson, who do you have?
Gerson. Did you expect that, Jeff?
I didn't. I thought you'd go with that top defense he's got listed there. I thought he was going to list them, but go ahead and talk about your defense, Gerson.
So just to be clear, he said the Patriots defense, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. Holy shit. Well, I guess I got to change my exposures in GPP. No, Tim did great defense this year. No, I mean, I think it's just the Rams defense for me. The top, like, it's highly priced, but it's going to be worth it. Definitely the Rams defense to me. I mean, just it's the New York Jets, guys. It's Sam Darnold as scene goes. And he definitely he's not going to see ghosts. He's going to see death when he sees Aaron Donald in his face. But I mean, it's just they are expensive, $4,500. But I think there's value in this slate where you can pay up for defense. And yes, but if you're going to pay up for tight end at Travis Kelce, you're not going to find that value at defense for sure.
Right.
I think let's say I don't even know how to. Lynn Bowden Jr. All these values that you have, and it's just Derrick Henry is expensive, of course, $9,500, but Alvin Kamara opens up a lot. And people don't realize this, but Alvin Kamara is $7,500. It's for sure one of the best values in the league on slate. And maybe I might be getting a little crazy, but maybe stack that Kansas City Chiefs game with more of the Saints side, which Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook,
it's cheaper.
all those. Yes, they're all cheap. And you know what? Fuck it. It's the last show of the year. I'm just going to say it. Stack it. Stack it. Stack the Kansas City Chiefs game on the Saints side.
Yeah.
And guess what? Maybe pay up for defense. Don't pay up for Kelce because you're not going to afford it. But it's crazy. I've never seen, like Tim said early on, one breaking news changed the whole slate.
Yep.
Yeah.
One breaking news. Was it Ian Rappaport or that's the sad
I think it was Schefter. Yeah, it was Shefty.
Oh, okay. So I trust Shefty. Fuck Ian Rappaport. That motherfucker's stupid.
Hey, Gerson, real quick, because we have a question that I want to answer on YouTube. This is actually a season-long question. I'm going to ask you real quick. Sean wants us to pick 3 of these guys. It's PPR. These are all flex spots. So he got T.Y. Hilton, Juju, Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert, McKissick, and Lockett. I know that's a lot of names to kind of hold in there right now.
That's easy for me though. T.Y. Hilton, because you're not going to.
You got to pick 3. You got to pick 3 of them. So T.Y. Hilton, yeah.
T.Y. Hilton. Juju or Judy?
Juju. Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, McKissick, and Lockett. I think I'm going. Hilton, Juju. And probably Lockett. Yeah, Lockett.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy because guess what? Raheem Mostert playing.
Right.
And
they kind of cancel each other out a little bit, in my opinion.
Yep.
If something happens, and we should have mentioned this, but if something happens and Raheem Mostert tweaks something between now and Sunday and Jeff Wilson gets to start, he's one of the best players on the board.
Yeah.
But right now, I think we all expect that Mostert's going to play.
Yeah, I think he is.
What Tim was trying to say, if he tweaks his vagina between here and there, then you play.
Or he pulls a Josh Jacobs and decides he only wants to play 10 snaps. I mean, something.
Let's be honest here. We're not stupid enough to go follow on social media. We do follow some athletes, but we're not stupid to believe them because we know this. But I'm just telling you guys, one of the stupidest things that people do in real life is insult players about being fantasy football players and DFS players and all this. Dude, get a fucking life, dude.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yep.
These guys, they bust their ass. But you guys got to remember, these guys have family.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Jeff Lambert. He pulls a hamstring. He's like, I'm going to fucking keep going until I fucking tear it. And there's Tim Strobel. I go down and fly out to Texas, and he's like, hey, gee, you want to come out here to the Dallas Stadium in Arlington and fucking throw footballs and shit in your skinny jeans? Yo, bro, I don't got skinny jeans, but I got little tight fit pants.
Gerson, what beer number are you on?
35.
Yeah, so you've been talking for like 35 minutes.
35 seconds.
Tax time.
Well, let me get to my defense. I ain't even got to my defenses yet. So I got 2 defenses listed here. One of them is the Washington football team versus Seattle. The reason I have them here is because Russell Wilson is the second most sacked quarterback this year next to Carson Wentz. And 3 of the last 4 games, the Washington football team have 4 sacks in those games. So I do think that they can get to Russell Wilson and get some sacks. And then the Cowboys versus the San Francisco 49ers, and I wrote down just one name, Nick Mullins. He likes throwing the ball to the other team.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy G, but okay.
Yeah, it's same thing, Jimmy G or Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins is just the more aggressive of the two. But he will turn the ball over. He will throw the ball to the defense and get some turnovers there. Tim, you made kind of a face when I mentioned the Washington football team. You not liking it?
No,
I don't. No,
I don't either, dude.
All right, I'm definitely playing them then.
there you go.
Yep. I just think the Washington football team, like I said, they've had 4 sacks in 3 of the last 4 games, and Russell Wilson takes a ton of sacks. He's been sacked I think 40 times this year. Only Carson Wentz has been sacked more.
I think the reason why Team and I don't like this is because the other quarterback on the other side.
Haskins, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I think the defense still shows up.
Is that the reason why?
Yeah, we didn't talk about Seahawks at 3,100, but I think they're a great play as well.
I mean, oh, wait a minute. Shout out to Brian Clazier, Stark, your mama, whatever. But this guy loved the fucking Dwayne Haskins. He said he was a top 10 quarterback, but
He did.
whew, I don't know.
I didn't get a chance to mention it earlier in the show, but I am playing Washington Brian Clark there in the arena this week, and I am playing the Patriots defense against him. So just to let you guys know, I do stick with my my plays.
All right, let's get to the stacks now.
Going4two.com's weekly stack report.
All right, Gerson, what is your stack?
Oh, in case you haven't heard it all day, today, and tomorrow, and next day, guess what? You stack that Kansas City Saint game. And the thing is, you just stack it.
Just stack it.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, I have Brees, Emmanuel Sanders, Emmanuel. You like that, how that rolls? Emmanuel Sanders, and Cooks, Tyreek Hill. Yeah, just stack it, man. Just stack it.
Just stack it. And
I just had one note here. I said, don't be afraid. I said this earlier in the show. Don't be afraid to play Cook and Kelsey together because two tight end has won the Millie Maker 3 times this year.
Nice.
So it's a very viable strategy as ever.
And Tim, I'm gonna get your stack here, but also we forgot to mention the arena. We didn't mention that in the rewind. Someone asked about it in the chat. Who's in the arena this week?
Yeah, I just mentioned it. It's Brian Clark. Yeah,
You just mentioned it.
I did.
Oh, did he just mention it? Sorry, I was reading it.
Yeah.
How many beers have you had? How many beers have you had?
I missed it.
I am playing Brian in the arena this week, Mr. Washington. He has a strong lineup as always. He's got 2 Chiefs, so he obviously is all about stacking this game as well. So, yeah, definitely go vote. Last arena is next week, so vote for you. Vote for the winner, and you could be in the arena next week. Because Gerson took my Brees stack here, I had to pivot, and I'm going to pivot to Mr. Cramps himself, Lamar Jackson, to Mark Andrews, and then running it back with DJ Chark.
He took a shit.
And that's what I was watching, because when Gerson did his stack, I was like, oh shit, he took Tim's stack, and then I'm watching that. I guess while you're talking about the arena, I was like, who's he putting in there? I was like, oh, okay, because I watched you change it like live. That's why I missed what you were talking about. All right, so
I'll be honest with you guys, I just do my list.
See, I'm talented enough to be able to do multiple things.
Yeah, apparently I'm not. Apparently I'm not. It's just one thing is all I can do. My stack was a little bit weird because I want to stack the same game, but I wanted to be different. Not all talk about the same game. So I went with Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, and then to bring it back with DeAndre Hopkins. I think Sanders and Hurts kind of complement each other. I think Sanders gets enough passes out of the backfield to be one of those running backs that are viable in the passing game as well. So Hurts.
We didn't talk about Hopkins, did we?
You mentioned him briefly. We didn't really talk about him too much.
Oh, no, he's a great player this week for sure.
Yeah, he is.
Yep. All right.
You know, basically, if a number 1 wide receiver is playing against Darius Slay, you play that wide receiver this year.
Yeah, basically, that's how it works out. You're exactly right.
Nice.
All right, It's time for the last sick call of the year.
And now, the sick call of the week.
All right, Tim, I'm going to go to you first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jeff's boy, Kendrick Bourne. I feel like this guy always gets more run when Debo is out. I know the one week that it was Richie James week, but I think this is Kendrick Bourne week. Everybody will be on Brandon Ayuk, and for good reasons. They said he's got a 10 target projection for 6,300. But we know Dallas gives up plenty of points to wide receivers, especially wide receiver 2s and 3s. He's priced at 4,100, so he gives you some of that much-needed value this week. And I still think he gives you excellent leverage off the Ayuk chalk. So I think Bourne just a good, overall good play this week.
Yeah, I agree. I had him on my value list until I saw you had him as a sit call, but over his last 5 games, 10 targets, 5 targets, 5 targets, 6 targets. He had 7 last week. He has been the touchdown guy in years past. He hasn't got many this year, but he does get those targets down there when they get down close, so he could technically get a touchdown this week as well. Gerson, who do you have as your sit call?
Mr. LeBecca Chenault. Last week he got 11 targets, and I would never expect that. A gadget player or Mr. Slash hybrid player. He got 11 targets last week, 6 receptions, 49 yards, and no touchdown. But the week before that, he had like a little fluky touchdown, right? Is what we like to call it.
Flukiest touchdown, yeah.
The flukiest touchdown we ever seen. Tip pass, he takes it to the yard, and he had two receptions after that for 38 yards.
Yeah.
I like it. So my sit call, I like those guys that can pay off in just one big play. I think I had Guyton one week, and he played off in the one big play, and that's my guy I have this week. Devin Duvernay, with Marquise Brown being out, Miles Boykins being out, even the rookie Prochet, who didn't play much on offense anyway, but he's also out. It's going to be Duvernay and Willie Snead. I know they don't go to the receivers very often, but Duvernay is that big play guy. If he can just get one big play at 3.2 against Jacksonville, I think he pays off his salary in one play. So I got Devin Duvernay as my sit call this week.
Yep.
All right, guys, that wraps up the final podcast of the year, of the season. Gerson, I know you wanted to do a little sort of going away toast, so let's take care of that now.
Everybody, Jeff, Tim, I want to thank everybody that tuned into the show every week for the last 15 weeks.
15 weeks.
But honestly, we couldn't do it without you guys. It's not about Tim. It's not about Jeff. It's not about myself. It's about the people who tune in every week and week in and week out to, comment, like, retweet. Jeff is the fancy guy. He gets all this, but all of a sudden, Tim stepped up this week. He's like, I gotta get subscribers and stuff. I'm just the guy that tries to entertain people. We try to have a good show. We try to give out good stats. But the thing is, the best part about all this is just we try to have a good time. And we appreciate the effort with all you. Without you guys, we are not the show.
Yep.
But the thing is, I want to thank Tim and Jeff, because we can't have a great show without a great host, and a great leader like Jeff. Honestly, it's crazy. We come a long way, but this is it. This is our third year?
Third year, yep. Yeah, I was just gonna say, just going on, the show that we have. When we first started out, we were going live to 3 people, and it was probably, one of them was us, because we were watching the show as we were.
One of them.
So now if we're a little bit late, if we're 5 minutes late to get in the show, I get text messages. Where's the show at? Where's the show? Where's the show? So it's been awesome, guys. It's been a great year. I appreciate every single one of y'all in the chat group that are talking right now. For tuning in every week. It's been awesome, man. It really has been.
But I want to say one thing. Well, actually, Tim, say what you want to say, because the last thing is how I want to end it. That's it.
Yeah.
Tim, say what you want to say. He said.
Oh yeah, you want to go, Pat? Go.
But family, going for 2. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Cheers. All right. Let's give them where they can follow you, Gerson. I know there's no Sunday show this week, so you won't be giving out last-minute DFS advice, but they can find you still in the Facebook group. Which Facebook group are we talking about here?
The DFS Roundtable. This sucks, man. I can't believe we're gonna finish. This is it. This is the goodbye. Don't do this to me, Jeff. Stop it. No,
we're definitely going to stay live in the DFS Roundtable group all the way through the Super Bowl, or we're going to take you all the way through the playoff games. We'll have write-ups for the playoff slates. You can always ask questions. Get in the chat. The chat's always active. I recommend everybody to get into the Roundtable chat group because guys are talking in there about preseason NBA, NFL all day. You definitely want to get in there. We also talked about Twitter. It's also good to get us on Twitter. I know I'm at Keto DFS. Jeff is at Jeff Lambert 77, and Gerson is at the Fantasy G Pod. So definitely hit us up on Twitter as well.
Good stuff, guys. All right, as always, he mentioned my Twitter at Jeff Lambert 77. We will be starting back our season-long Dynasty show. We'll start back on January 6th. If you play Dynasty, we'll be breaking down the rookies coming into the NFL draft and doing all that kind of stuff. Got some great guests lined up. So some big things coming this offseason. We got a couple more shows that we're also adding to our lineup as well. But for Tim, for Gerson, I'm Jeff. We will see y'all next year.
Peace.
Go Pack, go! Play all the Packers on the Saturday slate.
And we're like, who?